Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mellissa Thomas here with my co-host.
Yes, I'm Kathleen Michelle.
And welcome to this Thursday's edition of FNN Good News and Reviews. Obviously not on location today, but that's okay. We still have an equally important discussion today. And Kathleen, go ahead, lead us into it.
Well, we'll be talking about PTSD, and it's Awareness Month for PTSD and trauma. And you'd be surprised because when I first heard that word PTSD, the only thing I could think of it was for war heroes, people who have been through battle. But to be honest with you, it's more than just that. Someone can suffer from PTSD if they've gone through a traumatic event in their life, whether it's something very strong as far as being raped or going through abuse. And so a lot of people suffer with it, and it has sometimes gone unnoticed with a lot of people. In fact, 1 in 6 people in America have PTSD at some point in their life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And depending on how the person interprets what they suffered, it can be short-term or long-term. There's some people who suffer lifelong PTSD. So just wanted to kind of go over that with you guys.
And PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. So when something major happens in someone's life, they can have triggers. So when they go through the situation, for instance, if a crime happened and they were a victim of a crime, anytime they go to that location, that street, that home, they will have anxiety, or they can have fears and nightmares or terrors. And this can last for years if there isn't some type of counseling or help or walking through it. And so it doesn't make someone weak because they go through this type of thing. It's the fact that we all have things that happen to us, and some more traumatic than others. And it really depends on how someone handles it.
Absolutely. So just to give you guys some statistics on PTSD, if this is something that you want to learn a little bit more about, the National Institute for Mental Health is a great source for, in terms of a website if you want to do some research. But as of 2020, one statistic in terms of how common PTSD is, an estimated 7.8% of Americans will experience PTSD at some point in their lives, with women at 10.4%, twice as likely. Women are twice as likely as men to get it. 10.4% versus men at 5% likely to develop PTSD.
Yeah.
And then Kathleen briefly mentioned some of the symptoms, a little bit more about that. Sometimes the symptoms include numbness, bad memory, nightmares, insomnia. Sometimes they'll lash out if they're triggered, as Kathleen was talking about.
Right.
Sometimes there's anger. Sometimes they'll engage in self-destructive behaviors. If it's somebody that's desperately looking for an out, sometimes you may see that. And sometimes it's physiological as well. Headaches, agitation, dizziness, increased chest pain, sometimes even fainting, depending on the level of stress that their body is under and how intense the trigger is.
Right. And, at any given time, 12 million Americans suffer from PTSD. So a lot of times they can be misdiagnosed with maybe anxiety or maybe some type of mental disorder, when really, if you look back at the history of what they've gone through, it can be PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from a certain situation that happened to them in their life.
Right.
So it's important to not let it go unnoticed. If you've gone through a hard time, maybe it's been very traumatic. And sometimes a lot of people will downplay a situation because theirs doesn't seem as traumatic as the other person. Right. But like I said, everyone handles things differently. So it's not to feel weak about it, or that, oh, I can't handle much, but this person's been through so much more, so I shouldn't be suffering. Like I said, it's important to get that help, get the counseling, find out ways to deal with and resolve this so that you don't go and continue to go through life having these triggers and trauma building up.
Absolutely. And to Kathleen's point, whatever your view, your emotions, whatever, it's valid. Don't let anybody downplay it. Don't you downplay it yourself. It's valid. Whatever happened to you, whatever you're feeling in response to that, make sure you get that, talk it out with somebody, find somebody to talk it out with, even if therapy is something you can't necessarily afford. There are a lot of ministries that are available, so make sure you do your research with that, and find someone to talk to share that with, because you never know. Your experience someone may have already experienced it and may have steps to help you out of it.
That's true. Melissa, have you ever struggled or suffered with PTSD by a traumatic situation, or know anyone who has?
Oh, absolutely. Mine is on I have several examples, but I'll give you one that's on a slightly lighter note. I'm somebody that is not a big fan of roller coasters. I have not been a huge fan since I was a kid, and I hadn't been on one in like 2 decades or something.
Wow.
And I went on one this year. I went to Universal and went on the Hagrid ride. Mind you, the Hagrid roller coaster is not that deep. Like, it's not overly risky. I can tell you I'm traumatized. Like, to this day, like, it's a problem. I will not get on another roller coaster, at least not for a little while. And then even after that, I went on a flight. We covered the Super Bowl. And from my experience on the roller coaster, I was terrified of the turbulence we were experiencing on the flight. Like, it brought me back to how I felt on the roller coaster. So,
Wow. I
yeah.
totally understand that. And I've been through a series of healing for different types of PTSD in my own life. And I understand that there's a process, and sometimes the best way is to face those fears.
Yeah.
Because PTSD will hold us back, or fear will hold us back, but it's easier said than done.
True.
You know, I'm with you with the flying thing, and I don't know where it came from. Sometimes PTSD can be from your family. Like, I'm a visionary. So when someone tells me a story, I can see it. And so growing up, whatever your parents have taught you, you can have that PTSD. And so I would always have that fear going into it, to the point of I couldn't even hear an airplane fly over me at one point.
Wow.
Because it would cause me anxiety. But little by little, as I walked through it, I watched videos on fear of flying through different people who have overcome. It really helps. So it's really about not just ignoring and avoiding, but targeting it and getting the healing to continue to move forward and develop. And in your situation with the whole roller coaster, maybe it's baby steps, you know, a small little Legoland roller coaster,
Baby.
you know, the baby hill, and then you work your way up instead of the grand slam, you know, roller coaster. So sometimes it's baby steps to get the healing that we need.
Absolutely. And for those who also want to follow a specific day, because there is a specific date in June that is National PTSD Awareness Day, which is June 27th. It's a Monday this year. But we have the entire month to be able to discuss it, you know, provide resources for you guys. And again, as I mentioned, the National Institute for Mental Health, that's a big resource. So make sure you check them out. Check out their Twitter as well, because they offer a lot of helpful statistics and resources on their Twitter account as well.
Yeah. And also, don't, you know, talking about fear, sometimes people are afraid to get counseling. I heard someone say that that's only for people with mental problems, you know, and we all go through things in life.
Absolutely.
And it's not always like the movies or TV shows you see. Getting help it doesn't make you a weak person. It actually makes you strong, because you're able to say, hey, I need help. And we all do at some point. So walking through processes of PTSD is very helpful. And I know, for instance, the veterans who have been in war, they have those dogs that really help them. And there's a lot of communities where you can have support groups and people who know it and help you to achieve the goals you want. There's also clinics where there's horses, and you can go, you know, pet the horses and connect with them when you go through a hard time. And even loss can cause PTSD. I know at 13, when I lost my aunt, it was so traumatic watching her die. It wasn't just that she died, but I watched her go through chemo and cancer and die in her own home. And as a young girl, that was very traumatic for me, and it stuck in my mind, and I would have dreams and nightmares. So having someone there to help sort through your thoughts is very helpful, and having support groups and places to get connected to.
Yes. And you guys have heard us harp on this very often, between Mental Health Awareness Month last month, and then even back in December when we were talking about the difficulties that people face during the holiday season. Write stuff down. It is very important to write your thoughts down, because you bring them down to size. If they stay in your head, they will grow. They'll fester and get bigger than they really are. Once you write them down and get them on the paper, they're now tangible. You can see them, and you can actually, you're in a better position to sort through them.
That's true. Get your thoughts on paper, get it out of your mind, because otherwise it's a continuous cycle, and your brain has to answer that question, because we're problem solvers. People are naturally problem solvers. So if you don't have an answer, even if it's not the one you want, your brain will try to figure it out. So writing it down, what's the worst case scenario? And typically it's death. I mean, really, or some people have fears of public speaking, or I knew a lady who had PTSD and a lot of fear of getting married, walking down the aisle and falling.
Wow.
So she never got married. So fear and trauma, anxiety, they all work hand in hand, and there's ways to heal and to take little steps to grow stronger, but you have to face those fears. You have to face those traumas. You can't just let them sit and get the healing that you need.
Absolutely. And to the point, just wrapping this part of it up, to the point about writing things down, once you see it on the paper, you can then get into that problem solving mode and then start asking yourself, like, okay, this is what I'm afraid of. Who can I talk to that can help me with this? Like, who knows more about this than I do? And then you can start actually mapping a road to success yourself.
It's true.
And you feel more empowered when you do it. You know what I mean? Because you will have come up with the questions and answers yourself.
That's so true. So I would encourage you to research and find different groups that you can be a part of here in Orlando. Get the counseling you need if you've struggled. It's nothing to feel sorry about, for, not to feel bad, that you need that help. If you've gone through a traumatic situation, whatever that might be, you can get the healing that's out there. And I know people have gotten healing from post-traumatic stress disorder. So you can do that as well.
Absolutely. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, guys. And again, check out the National Institute for Mental Health for all their information. Any other, do your Google research, look up anything else you need to find out in terms of PTSD, how to get therapy, how to treat it, how to self-medicate, if you will, in terms of journaling things, learn to problem solve on your own. But for now, we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'll be back with your events that are coming up in June. Stay tuned.
Thank you.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
Hey guys, Mellissa Thomas here with FNN News TV. We're back with the FNN News Good News and Reviews. So I'm wrapping things up for you guys of what's coming up in the month of June, at least for this particular weekend. There's a lot going on, especially if you're in the Orlando or Orange County area for this coming weekend in the month of June, this first weekend in June. So the first thing I want to tell you guys about is that obviously June 1st was the beginning of hurricane season. So if you're here in Florida with us, you already know all about that. And Orange County is offering a resource for in case you need help or anything like that. They're having their Hurricane Expo, their Hurricane Prep Expo. It takes place June 3rd. That's Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. So just go to their website, orangecounty.gov or ocfl.net, actually, ocfl.net. Be sure to check that out, find out all the resources that are available, find out where it's taking place. And hey, if that's something that you're interested in, you want to learn more about hurricane preparedness or where you can go to get the resources you need, that's a place where you can get that done. Then on the more fun side, if you're someone that has a family, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida, they've been in conjunction with Orange County. They're powered by Orange County government, but the Boys and Girls Clubs are doing the Save Our Students summer program where they're offering block parties at several different branches across Central Florida. So they've had two at the end of May so far. Now they've got two coming up on this weekend. June 3rd. So they'll be actually June 3rd and June 4th. So June 3rd is actually a Friday. I want to make sure I get that right. Friday is June 3rd, Saturday is June 4th. So over the course of the entire month of June, it's usually a Friday and a Saturday. A Friday at one branch, a Saturday at another branch. So this weekend on Friday, it'll be at the Levi or Levy, however you pronounce it, Hughes branch. That's going to happen from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. All of the block parties, they're all from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time on Friday and Saturday. The Saturday one this weekend will take place at the West Orange branch of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida. So huge shout out to them for the work that they're going to be doing throughout the summer. So if you're someone that has, you got a kid, you got somebody young, they need something to do, just make sure to go to their website, bgccf.org, Boys and Girls Clubs of Central Florida.org to find out more. And of course, the other thing that is happening this weekend, if you are someone in the business community, especially if you're someone in the Hispanic business community, doesn't matter the people group, but if you're looking to up your game and you are a Hispanic business owner, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Metro Orlando, which is the largest Hispanic business organization in the Central Florida region, they're having their business expo this weekend. It kicked off this morning, and then the second part will take place tomorrow. They're both happening here in Lake Nona. The first part was at Guidewell. The second part tomorrow is at the Lake Nona Performance Center, I believe is what it is called. But make sure you go to their website as well to find out more. This business conference is usually very comprehensive, and this year they have a lot of great speakers included in the lineup. One of the sessions today is actually on the Central Florida sports and the significance of the sports arena. So we've got, Jason Siegel from the Central Florida Greater Orlando Sports Commission. You have Bo Outlaw, who is the community ambassador for the Orlando Magic. He'll be speaking as well. There's a lot of different speakers going on at the expo this weekend. So be sure to go to the Hispanic Chamber's website to learn more about that. But for now, that's just a little bit of taste of what's going on this weekend here in the month of June. Of course, we'll keep you guys updated as to all things fun and family friendly here at FNN Good News and Reviews. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. That does it here for us for this Thursday's edition. Tune in for next Thursday's edition as we come back to you guys at 12 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to, be sure to check us out at FNN Good News and Reviews on Facebook. We do have a new Facebook home just for this show. So FNN Good News and Reviews, find us there at Facebook. And of course, for all FNN News TV updates and shows, make sure you hit that like button on FNN News TV. And of course, on YouTube, be sure to subscribe at FNN News TV as well. Make sure to click the bell icon so you never miss a single update or a single show episode. Well, I'm Mellissa Thomas, one of your co-hosts for FNN Good News and Reviews. Thank you guys so much for your time and have a great rest of your Thursday. Take care.